What's up, guys? I'm back like I never left. In this video, we're going to be talking about Workhorse Stock. There's an important day coming up pretty soon that can significantly affect the stock price. I'm going to cover that important information. We're also going to be talking about if it's a right time to get involved in the stock market to buy companies that are selling off at the downside. I'm also going to go over important stock market reports we need to pay attention to for tomorrow after I cover the stock market recap. So make sure you stay tuned. Now let's get right into the video. Before we get into the video, I appreciate if you can hit the like button. If you have any questions, any comments, make sure you drop it in the comment section below. So as you can see over here, we got the stock market tumbling down, sold off at the downside because there's been a lot of COVID cases spiking across the United States and also in Europe and also in the US, that we have the stimulus talks that's really not leading or going nowhere. So that is the major events that affected the stock market to significantly go down to the downside. So as you can see over here, with like all of the sectors in the stock market has been selling off to the downside. Leading, of course, is going to be the Nasdaq by Microsoft, Facebook, Google, Amazon not going down that much, Apple, the financial sectors. We have the energy sector, industrials, healthcare. Like the majority of the stock market just sold off to the downside. So we relatively started to recover a little bit right before the market closed. So that was a positive sign. Instead of the stock market selling lower and approaching the lows, that could potentially indicate that the stock market can actually gap down to the downside, but we didn't actually close closer to the lows. So that is a good thing to look at in the short term. And we also have major earnings coming up on Wednesday. On Thursday too, we have Microsoft, Facebook, Amazon, Apple. All of these big giant companies are going to be reporting earnings this week too. So hopefully if they beat their earnings spectacular, they have their numbers, which is going to be beyond expectations, the stock market can recover in the short term. But however, we need to pay attention to that. The election is also coming up next week. We're going to be able to see some market volatility, the stock market going up and down, depending upon how people react to the election results. So another important thing that we also need to keep in mind is that in the United States, there's been a spike in cases more than 10%. And that is a significant number to watch out for. So when people get sick a lot, hospitals are going to get crowded. And that is not a good thing to look at. The number of people that are dying also is going to be increasing. And that could potentially lead some states to actually go back to lockdown. So that is not going to be a good thing for the overall stock market and also for the economy of the US. So we'll see how things are going to be looking like in the next few weeks. But this is a really crucial week for the stock market as we approach the election. So another important company that we're going to be looking at is going to be, of course, Workhorse Stock. The current price is at $18.53, is down 8.9% of the downside. So it's approaching the support area. We talked about it, close to $15. So we'll see if it continues to sell off to the downside. And of course, we have the other company, which is Lordstown Motor, which finalized the merger with Diamond Peak Holdings, and the ticker symbol changed today to RIDE, RIDE. As you can see, the stock is relatively up today. As you can see, we have Lordstown Motor trading with ticker symbol RIDE. The company is trading at $18.97, which is close to what Workhorse stock price is. So what a coincidence. Workhorse is trading at $18.53. We got Lordstown Motor also trading at $18.97. So we'll see if there's going to be potential sell-off that can happen within the next few days, because these merging companies, they tend to sell off to the downside. But if the stock does not sell off, that is a great thing to see. That means that there's strength, because I've noticed today that the majority of the companies that did the merger, they were not actually selling off to the downside, because they already sold off a lot in the past few days. So today, when the overall stock market was selling off, some of them were actually going higher and higher. So that is a positive thing to look at. We'll see how Lordstown Motor is going to be trading in the next few days. Now let's talk about the important date that we need to be watching out for Workhorse stock. November 9 is when Workhorse is set to report their third quarter earnings report. So they can potentially see a significant decline, or the stock price can go even higher depending upon what they have to present during the earnings call and what they have to say for the future guidance. So the date is set. It's going to be Monday, November 9, 2020, 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. You'll also be able to join the earnings call if you want to. You can hear it live. And the other important thing that we know to watch out for, of course, is going to be the question that they're going to be asked during that press conference is about the USPS contract, why we're not knowing exactly when Workhorse is going to be getting the USPS contract or not, how long we have to wait. There's going to be important questions that is going to be raised to the CEO, the CFO. So expect them to say something, and that can affect the stock price significantly higher or lower. So November 9 is going to be an important date for Workhorse stock. So let's see exactly what is potentially going to happen for the stock price on November 9th. So as you can see, the past earnings report, the stock relatively sold off to the downside a little bit. It was down 10% to the downside and really did not break down of the support area of $15. So it was just consolidating. It had multiple red days consecutively. But we expect, since the market volatility is going to be increasing, the elections, their earnings reports is actually after the elections. So we might see some sell-off happening a little bit to the downside. And on November 9, we might actually expect the stock price to stay above the $15, or we might see the stock price even go higher to $20, depending upon what they have to say about the USPS contract. So that is going to be crucial for the stock price depending upon what you're looking at it. But if there's no huge sell-off happening due to the elections, we might expect the stock to slowly recover to $20 and eventually go higher and higher depending upon what they have to say on their earnings reports on November 9th. So definitely watch out for Workhorse stock and the election day too. We might see a slight sell-off to the downside. And also right after the election, November 9 is going to be when they're going to be announcing their earnings report. So that is going to be huge days in November for Workhorse stock. So now let's talk about the other important companies that we need to be watching out for when it comes to this specific sector. We got NEO stock that has been breaking out to the upside, and the stock also sold off the day to the downside. It's been pulling back to the downside. So the resistance area that it broke out of was at $22. And as you can see, it hit close to $30. Now it's sitting at $26. So the ideal price point to get in, if the stock price can eventually go to $21, $22, that is ideal price point to get in, because you never know what could potentially happen in the next few days. You might even see an additional sell-off happening. The stock market can sell off to a healthy correction of 10% to the downside. Today we have 2%, a little bit over 2% sell-off happen, and we might expect a little bit of at least 8 to 9% sell-off within the next few weeks, depending upon how things unfold with the election. So the NEO stock can also be selling off together with the overall stock market. So an ideal price point to get involved in it is going to be at $22 and $21 if it can retrace all the way back to $20. So that is going to be the important price point to get in it. And now let's talk about what are the important economic reports that we need to pay attention to for tomorrow. So for Tuesday, October 27, we got at 8:30 a.m. we got the durable goods order. This is going to be for the period of September. The previous was 0.5%, and the forecast negative 0.2%. Also at 8:30 a.m. we got the core capital goods order. It's going to be for the period of September. The previous was 1.9%, and the median forecast is 0.3%. Also at 9 a.m. we got the National Home Price Index for year-over-year change, and the period is going to be for August. And the previous was 4.0%. At 10 a.m. we got the Consumer Confidence Index. It's going to be for the period of October. The previous was 101.8, and the median forecast 101.5. And at 10 a.m. we also have Home Ownership Rate, NSA. That's going to be for the period of Q3. The previous was 67.9%. So make sure you have a solid plan and be aware of this important economic reports. When they came out, they can affect the stock market, but in the short term, really the COVID case numbers and the stimulus is the one that's leading the stock market to either go up or down significantly. So be aware of that news updates coming out related to those two specific topics. And the other thing that you also need to do is really be super careful. As I mentioned, the stock market just going up and down a lot. The market volatility is also expected to increase within the next few days, within the next few weeks. So make sure you manage your risk, make sure you have a solid plan, and be super careful. And if you have any questions, any comments, make sure you drop in the comment section below. If you want to join the Discord chat or sign up for Webull to get 3 free stocks, or join the Patreon page, there's going to be a link available in the description box below. But I catch you guys on tomorrow's video. Have a wonderful day.